around horror movies uncut, submissions, and slashers. I got a wonderful interview for you guys right now because one of the things that you guys hear me talking about all the time on the website is there's not really a lot of good folk horror movies out anymore, okay? But I found one that I think all you guys should watch. And it's a new film that's based off of a book, and the film is called Starve Acre. And I am joined by the director of the film, Mr. Daniel Kokotajlo. How you doing, sir? I've been practicing your last name
right.
since about 3 o'clock 2 days ago.
Right.
And I'm happy that I got somewhere close to it. But how you doing today, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for getting my name right. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. So my first question for you was, what was your first interpretations of the book from Anthony Hurley? And like, what is it that you wanted to make sure you put across in regards to Starve Acre that you were taking from what you got from the book?
Quite a lot of things, Travis. I think the first thing for me was like the unexpected nature of the book, where you thought you were coming in for one thing, possibly something a bit like Pet Sematary, you know,
Right.
But then being given something else, it revealed itself to be a story that was sensitive, you know, and about the inner emotional lives of these characters. I found that quite exciting. I also just really loved the atmosphere and the mood, the sense of place, the way that the weather and the seasons played a part in the story. I wanted to get that across. And then also the rich kind of symbolism around the nature of the animal in the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the brown hair and it's such a like iconic animal that throughout all kinds of storytelling, all sorts of religions, all sorts of mythology, just loved that it was focused on that animal. And what happens to that animal is like a reflection of this relationship and what's happening there.
For sure. It's one of the hardest things about writing the review for the film is you really don't want to spoil anything going on with the animal because it adds so much substance to everything else that you're seeing in the film. My question, though, is in regards to the cast, and we're going to talk a little bit more about both Michael and Morfydd Clark because they're both fantastic. But was there anything in particular that you were asking for them in the film to kind of relay the overall tone of Starve Acre, which for me felt more about grief, mourning, family? There's a lot more of that in there than I think people will know right off the bat from what they see with the trailer.
Yeah. Look, a lot of that comes from conversations, and maybe it's my kind of style of working with actors as well. I did that a lot in my first film, Apostasy, which was all about.
It's a great movie, brother.
Thank you. It was all about like thought processes, you know, the moments in between decisions made, and when you're caught up in a really difficult situation, you can have multiple thoughts at the same time, and it's about then trying to unscramble that. And that was what I was talking to Matt and Miv about a lot, you know, just let's just make it about this stuff, you know, we don't have to go too big with it. We don't have to have really action-packed sequences.
Right.
We can just watch these characters deal with these things and watch them think, you know. But what the actors are doing it's very specific, you know, these moments. They know what they're doing and what they're thinking. We're not exactly sure what's going on, but it's like, so it creates this feeling, right, of unease, like, oh, we're sharing this intimate moment with these characters, and we're not supposed to be here, you know. That's what Andrew was doing in his writing as well. It was always about the emotions, these really honest and difficult emotions that they were going through, and then the crazy repercussions of that then as well, you know, how grief spawns a kind of madness and left turns and like offbeat things happen in the story. You're just like, am I seeing this right? You know?
And honestly, man, I think so many people are going to be thinking that as the tale unfolds, because the film, one of the things that I said in the review is you can tell that it's coming from a very well-written book, because even when you're watching the film, you're thinking it's going to be one thing and then it's going to set you up for something else. But My big question next for you though is about Smith and Clark, and they're such a great pair and they have great chemistry. Even when they're not in shots together, they do so great work standing alone by themselves. Was there anything that you, Daniel, learned from the two of them while you were working on this project together?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I learned to like let go a little bit more as well.
Okay.
I was all over it on Apostasy, but when Matt and Miv came along, I just got into like letting go a little bit. You know, Matt likes to work in a way where he will do like 7 or 8 takes all in one go.
Okay.
He'll come in the room, do his take, go out and come back in, and we just keep rolling.
Okay. Okay.
And you just go with it, and everyone's wildly different. Part of you as a director is thinking, geez, man, I don't know, like, let me just think about this. But it's like, you just go with it. And what also with Matt, it was sometimes he had this quality where in the room I was like sometimes a bit unsure about what was going on, but then when I went and watched it back on the monitor, I was like, wow, this is so different from what I just experienced inside
Matt's
the room.
pretty brilliant. He seems to do that in a lot of his roles where you're just like, I don't really know if this is, and then like you lead into it and you're like, okay, no, this guy, I think Matt's probably one of the most talented like actors we have in this generation. So, and I was very, very excited once I saw that he was attached to this project, because it's just almost, he's just one of those talents. And Clark, she's fantastic too. They're just, when you see their names on stuff, you know that they're going to be kind of stepping into something that has some good prestige about it. And I think they both do a great job of like displaying what you guys are trying to come across in the film.
Yeah. And they're both at that stage in their career and that kind of age as well, where they're just so easy to work with, and they're creative and have loads of energy, willing to do sort of anything you ask them to do. Both like really brave. And so it was just a total pleasure working with both of them.
And I think that works a lot too, because it's kind of a brave story. I mean, we're dealing with loss. There's so many layers in Star of Acre that people I think are going to be able to appreciate. Let's talk about Star of Acre itself, because that is the name, right, of the house and the family land for the characters. And tell me about when you guys were in the process of creating this. Was this house already picked? Was this something that you guys already knew? How did you know that this was going to be the setting for this film? Or was this something that just kind of you came across being lucky? Because that happens in filmmaking at times.
Yeah. In the story, it's a farmhouse on the Yorkshire Dales. It's described as like it's surrounded by an acre of land where nothing grows. You know, it's just a sort of derelict.
It's not the best like selling point for anything. Yeah, you can live here, but don't grow any tomatoes, or you ain't gonna get anything. So. Yeah.
But luckily, we managed to find a place that was like that. You know, we did spend a long time looking for the right place, and there was a couple of spots we found that we liked, but they were impossible to get to. But this was just was perfect, the location, and the house was luckily still in pretty good nick, and the room, the sort of space, the interiors were close to what we needed, and it just had this land that was perfect. You know, it felt like Star of Acre. It was it was a sort of barren land that sort of dipped down into a bog. You couldn't even see the horizon from certain spots. It made you feel isolated and like stuck in this space.
Yeah, there's great moments where you feel like, especially when Matt is kind of on his own isolated journey, you really get to kind of see the openness of the area. And it's, like I said, it's the great thing about it is it's part of the tale, because it's supposed to be, it's the name of the film, but in the same token, the best thing about it is that overall setting really brings in kind of that grief, despair, and everything that the cast is dealing with. So
Yeah.
The next thing that I would like to ask you, and I only got a couple more, Daniel, man, you've been fantastic. I could talk to you about this film for hours because I really enjoyed it. Actually, one of the few films, man, I'm not going to lie, I watched twice. Like, and you can even ask Rosa. I made her send me another copy of it. And it's just because I knew there was stuff that I was going to miss the first time through. But one of the things that I have noticed is there's already been some pretty positive reviews coming out about the film, and I'm curious to how that makes you feel, and if you're excited about what you're seeing about the film. Are you confused about what you're seeing? Like, what's your own personal take on the reception that you're getting for Star of Acre so far?
It's a good question. I'm not sure yet.
You're not reading reviews?
Yeah, I don't really read that many.
Okay,
like,
don't
I'll
read
try
my review then too, man.
Ones, but...
Don't read my review. Like, keep me off of it too.
Okay, I'll check your review out.
All right, thank you, man. Read my review. It'll be posted tomorrow morning, so you get to be able to read it first thing in the morning.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out then. All right.
Okay, so let me ask you this, which is probably a better question to ask.
Some are positive, some are negative, some are mixed. It's just like,
yeah,
it seems like generally it's pretty good response. So I am like happy that's happening, especially in the States. I had no idea what was going to happen there.
Yeah,
it seems like quite a lot of people are enjoying it and get it, and some of the reviews have been pretty insightful as well. So I was like, great, this seems to be working. But it is a sort of strange, like uncanny story as well, you know. So it probably isn't for everyone.
Strange is a word that I would definitely use. I would add some other words to that: morbid, a little dysfunctional. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. But I mean, isn't that what we watch movies for? I mean, we need to be entertained, and I think one of the things why some of the reviews are being positive is because, you know, the film clocks in right at 98 minutes, but you don't feel like you're there that long. I mean, right when you guys get to Star of Acre, things start to happen. And I think for the viewers and for people who may not be really invested in what people would call atmospheric style films, I think you guys do a great job with the pacing in the movie and keeping everybody abreast of what's going on where they won't lose sight of the film. So the last thing that I'm going to ask you, brother, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. What is something that you hope people really take away from Star of Acre after they see it? I mean, there's all types of things, all different types of layers in this film, but what's one thing that you hope remains with people after they see Star of Acre?
I think what you were talking about there, the atmosphere, the feeling, the mood, that's what I was trying to do there. Create something that's kind of, that you enjoy, you know, that you want to be part of despite what's happening. That's what storytelling's about for me, that you can watch a story that is about grief.
Exactly.
It's quite dour, but there's something like pleasurable, or like there's a sense of wickedness about it that you just that makes it your thing, you know, that you want to be part of. And that's what I felt when I read the book, and that's what I was trying to do with the film. I was like, I just want to make a film that people will enjoy and want to talk about afterwards. You know, whether it's about the nature of the hair and what that signifies throughout history or throughout religion or spiritism, right down to the acting or the atmosphere or the music. There's like so many elements to the film that I worked hard on. And just like, that's the feeling I want people to come away with. Like, oh, wow, this feels like something strange and weird and wonderful. I'd like to watch it again or talk about it, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, man, it is a pleasure to talk to you. It is a pleasure to talk about a wonderfully weird movie with you. And I'm excited for all the success of Star of Acre. I think it's going to hit big time, especially once it gets to distribution. Brainstorm, all those guys do a great job. So best of luck to you. Thank you so much. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Kokotajlo. Let's go. Say those last names as best as you can. That's what we try to do here. Submissions and Slashes, brother. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Travis. I'll check your review out as well in the morning.
Perfect.
Nice talking to you.
Appreciate
Have a nice
it.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.